Tinker. Corrie, come here and give Daddy a kiss.
This is Rick Coggins, filmed on the very day he was diagnosed with the bowel cancer that would kill him within a year. His wife Carrie, a primary school teacher, took the video.
There's water that's coming down. Look, can you see? Should we see what's on the next page? He was so outgoing and loved himself a little bit, but he was just great. When we first met, there was a spark straight away. And he's just always full of energy and life, really. Just a happy, easygoing person.
And how old were you when you met him?
I was 19 and he was 22.
And you've been together all this time?
Yeah.
And when you decided to have Corrie, what was it like having a wee baby?
From the minute I was pregnant, Rick, we were both absolutely ecstatic, and it was amazing. Even though sleepless nights and everything else that goes with it, we just felt closer than we'd ever been in our lives, really. It was the best thing we ever did.
So everything was wonderful. And then Rick began to get some symptoms. When did you know he'd got symptoms?
We'd recently moved to this house, and he started going to the toilet more and more, but he said, oh, it's probably a virus. He said, it's just diarrhoea, I'm not going to the doctors yet, there's no point. And then it actually got worse and worse, and he was on the toilet up to 15, 16 times a day.
Did you know he'd got some bleeding as well?
Yes, I did, but he again said, oh, it's probably just piles. It sounds a bit of a cliche, but being a man, he was like, oh, it'll be okay, it's fine, I'll just plod on. But then he did go to the doctors with diarrhoea symptoms, and I think he came away from a bit embarrassed, really, because they kind of said, oh, well, it's probably just IBS.
Did Rick know that there was any history of bowel cancer in the family?
Yes, he did. He was aware that at least one of his grandparents had had bowel cancer.
And he mentioned that to the GP?
Yeah, he definitely mentioned that there was bowel cancer in the family.
I'm coming to get that, Corrie.
Rick had the classic symptoms of bowel cancer, a combination of bleeding from the bottom and going to the loo much more often, persisting for more than just a few weeks. Rick had his symptoms, and they were extreme symptoms, for at least 5 weeks before he went to see the doctor. And he wasn't referred for hospital investigation?
No, he wasn't. He was given tablets.
The symptoms he had, he should have been referred for hospital investigation within 2 weeks.
Right.
That's what the guidance says.
No, it was 5 months before he had a sigmoidoscopy.
The 5-month delay before Rick was investigated at the hospital may well have been critical. With the symptoms he had, a 5-minute short colonoscopy would have found the cancer. Did you think that anyone could get bowel cancer so young?
No, because you only hear of it really in older people. So I had that's why I think we were so oblivious that Rick would even have bowel cancer when he had his first symptoms. Not in a million years did it even cross our minds.
A week after Rick's diagnosis, Rick and Carrie learned that the cancer had spread to his liver. This meant that Rick was now facing 2 major operations.
And I think because we were both quite naive to how sort of major operations they were, we were still very positive, still worried obviously, but we were very positive and thought we're going to fight this, we've got to for Corrie, and just to carry on really.
The bowel operation was successful, but before the liver surgery could be done, Rick would have to undergo chemotherapy, and dealing with that was hard.
No, thank you.
Throughout his chemotherapy, that was awful. He'd be in hospital for 3 days, and then home. It was only towards the end of that chemotherapy he was really, really poorly. But because we hadn't been through chemo before, we just assumed that's what it was and that's what it did to people. And then when we went back he had more scans, and then we got the results just before Christmas that it hadn't worked, and that's when we got a bit worried.
Make friends, never, never break friends.
Although Rick never knew, the doctors told Carrie that he now had only 3 months to live. But Carrie and Rick were still determined to prove them wrong, and they decided to get married.
I thought I need to do something to boost his spirits and try and make him fight even harder, really. And I didn't know what to get him for Christmas either, so I thought I'm going to propose. So I proposed on Christmas Eve, and then we got married on New Year's Eve. I was glad we did, and he said it was the best thing we'd ever done, and why didn't we do it 10 years ago, so I was pleased that we did.
When did Rick realise it wasn't, he was such a chirpy guy,
Yeah,
when did he realise that it wasn't going to work?
He didn't, ever. I don't think, from even when they said the first chemotherapy didn't work, and I don't think he ever did. He never gave up, he never thought there was any chance it was going to end, even at the very end. He said, when am I going home?
In the end, Rick never got the chance to have the liver surgery. It was all too late. Instead, the couple went away for a short break, had a will written, and came back for more tests.
We'd gone away to the caravan, and then we came back, and he just got more and more poorly while we were there. As we went into hospital, we got the results, went to hospital, and then they did some more tests. Rick was asleep for a lot of it anyway, and then the next morning after the first night we'd been in, the doctor came and saw me and just said there's nothing else we could do. But Rick was never aware of how poorly he was, I don't think. He just still carried on fighting and kept asking when he was going home.
If other young people have got the same symptoms that Rick had, what would you say to them?
God, get to the doctors straight away and demand to have a sigmoidoscopy, because if Rick had had that straight away, we might not be where we are now. Definitely, if it was the same symptoms, without a doubt, even if you were told, oh, try these tablets, just demand a sigmoidoscopy.
A 5-minute test?
Yeah, exactly, 5 minutes. Could save your life, really. You're so clever, well done. Can you find the cup of tea?